Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 20th of June. It is Friday. We do have a 13 game main slate ahead of us this evening. And from my understanding, we don't really have much for weather worries. Maybe a slight chance of rain in Tampa. But aside from that, we get to dig into the pitching matchups and worry about just the matchups. So, with that said, reminder, this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate. And I will be utilizing DraftKings on the screen as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, I cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. Allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now, with all that said and done, let's just jump into this slate of pitching. Actually, we'll refresh the weather station here. Sorry, I accidentally hit pause. See if there is any wind blowing out or big time, I guess, offensive environments. As you see, there's the Tampa Bay game. 40% chance of a delay is pretty strong, but looking at some of the weather, there is a lot of wind blowing out. Always have wind blowing out in San Francisco, nothing new. Wind blowing out in Colorado, that's an interesting one. Wind blowing out in Sacramento, that ballpark's already super offensive as it is. A lot of warm temperatures, some in the 90s. Ball's definitely going to fly a bit more. Man, this could be an offensive night just looking at some of this weather breakdown. Very interesting for us to know. But we're here to talk about pitching. Again, let's just jump right into the first game. Detroit, Tampa Bay. Obviously, we know this ballpark is great for hitting. Jack Flaherty is somebody that's definitely going to be in play, I believe. Prices dropped, coming off of a pretty rough start in Cincinnati, but prior to that was pretty dominant with a couple 31-plus fantasy point performances. One against a very difficult Cubs lineup to navigate, so he's capable of putting up super strong performances. So for me, I think we have to consider him. Obviously, the potential delay, something that we do want to pay attention to. And if we build a strong enough pool, we might just fade, somebody like that, just not worry about the weather. Shane Baz is capable. Finally had a pretty solid start after a month or so, 2 months of mediocre and bad starts. Just not going to get to Shane Baz in this matchup on a 13-game slate. Baltimore, New York. Max Fried definitely going to be in play for us. It's actually been ridiculously strong when pitching at home. It's not allowing home runs. Walk rate is up, but aside from that, everything is younger at home. Sorry, yawning. Just a generally pretty steady option. So he's somebody that we are going to want to utilize against a struggling Baltimore squad. Chicago absolutely dominated the Yankees the first time he faced them, just out of nowhere. Just nothing led up to all of a sudden just shutting down the Yankees. He struck out as many guys as he had in the previous 4 starts in that one start. Back to not really striking guys out, but the Yankees have been struggling. So do we consider Chicago? On a 13-gamer, I just don't think we can. K-prop at 3.5. Juice is barely on the over. I'm just not going to get to Chicago on a 13-game slate. White Sox, Toronto. I would have some interest in Spencer Turnbull if you told me that he was going to have a shot at pitching 5 to 6 innings. I'm just not sure if he can get there. 51 pitches his last time out. Pitching on normal starter's rest today. He's definitely a veteran, so maybe he can get to 80 pitches at this point, but he's thrown 80 pitches in his 2 appearances on the season. This is one, if we can get more information as the day goes on, I could see us using Turnbull a little bit, but again, we need information. K-prop of 4.5 seems pretty solid. Juice to the under, but still, probably not a bad K-prop, and something that we probably expect him to go 5 innings for. Atlanta, Miami, we don't have access to Didier Fuentes, which is kind of frustrating, but I understand he's kind of a pop-up name that it kind of gained some helium this year. But I'm interested to see what he does in that start. Unfortunately, unless DraftKings makes some changes, we won't be utilizing him. Philadelphia, the Mets. We beat Zach Wheeler, strong against the Mets. First time we faced them. Super strong when pitching at home. Just arguably the steadiest pitcher in baseball at this point. Has 30-plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 7 starts. He's just super strong. And somebody that I want to utilize. K-prop 6.5 juices on the over. Tidwell got lit up in his 1 start. Philadelphia has had some struggles at times, especially without Bryce Harper. I do have some intrigue in Tidwell. K-prop's just 3.5 juice on the over, so that number isn't all that exciting. Most likely, probably not going to end up in my pool, but somebody I want to consider. Cincy and St. Louis, Singer and Payante, I just don't think I'm getting to either guy. Singer was solid against St. Louis first time I faced him, but still only put up 16 fantasy points. I just don't think I'd be super happy with a 16 fantasy point performance. Most of his starts have just been mediocre. Just 2 starts of over, 18 fantasy points on the season. Singer, probably not for me. Payante is probably not either. Did strike out 7 last time out and has 7 Ks in 2 out of his last 4 starts. But still, just 3 starts over 19 fantasy points roughly on the season. Just another guy that I just think, even if he has a solid start, he puts up 16 to 18. I don't think we're going to be hurting that we didn't have that in our pool. Joe Ryan, Mizorowski. Joe Ryan, obviously, super strong. Dominated the Brewers the first time we faced them. Been even better when pitching at home. I think he's got to be in play. He needs to cut back on the walks that have crept up over the last handful of starts. If he avoids those, there is a route to a pretty strong performance. Whip numbers are super strong. Those come into play on DraftKings, as you should know by now. On the other side, Mizorowski was supposed to start Wednesday. Rain out, got pushed back, and then they kept Freddie Peralta on normal rest, I believe. So, Mizorowski looked impressive in his debut until he rolled his ankle. The walks could be an issue, but still, I think he's got a ton of upside in this matchup. I just don't like the price point. Seems an aggressive jump, but he just is going to be in play for me. Gallen against Gomber. I want to dig into what Gallen's done pitching in Coors previously. But we do have to consider him because he is taking on Colorado. With that said, they've been hitting some more home runs recently, so that's a worry. Gomber made his debut and actually shut down Atlanta. Left-handed pitching against Arizona is looking like a thing at times for me. So I'm going to want to dig into both of these guys' career numbers against the opponent and then obviously in Coors because I'm at least interested. And I shouldn't be because it's a Coors game, but still, Gallon's K-Prop 5.5 juiced to the over. Gomber 3.5 juiced pretty strongly to the under, which does not seem all that inviting. Houston and the Angels. Hunter Brown for sure. Big price tag. I get it, but he's taking on a team that strikes out a ton. The only thing that would make this better is if he was pitching at home, where he's been absolutely filthy all season. But still, Hunter Brown should be one of the safer options on the slate. Speaking of safer options, Kikuchi is not one. But he's been actually dominant when pitching at home. K numbers are down a little bit when at home, but still, like, everything else is just much stronger when he pitches at home. Maybe we have to consider him. We just saw Jacob Lopez strike out a ton of Astros from the left side. Kikuchi might be one of those GPP plays that we just take a stand on and hope some of the trends stay in our favor. Kansas City, San Diego. Nick Pivetta is always in consideration for me, especially when he's pitching at home in San Diego. All of his numbers are just so much stronger for us fantasy-wise. He does give up home runs. I should say a home run. He hasn't given up multiple home runs yet this season. His K numbers have kind of been all over the place. Kansas City doesn't strike out the most. They're actually one of the fewest strikeout teams in baseball. We will refresh this to get some accurate numbers here. Maybe. But there have been a couple games recently where we have picked on Kansas City with some pitching, and it's rewarded us. The fewest strikeouts in baseball right now on a per-game basis is Kansas City. The last few games have been super low. They do jump up a bit and strike out more on the road, which is where they're at here. And Pivetta, I think he has upside. If I do need to cut, a more expensive pitcher out of my pool, Pivetta is probably going to be the first option. And Lorenzen's not going to work for me in this spot. Traditional reverse splits, not a great thing going against Tatis and Machado. And Bogarts last night, who decided to go 4 for 4. Cleveland and the A's. Just not interested in Jeffrey Springs, especially pitching in this ballpark. He does have the ability to put up fantasy points, but on a 13-game slate, I think I can pass on him. Tanner Bybee, it does intrigue me because the A's can strike out a bit. His performances haven't been the greatest, so like if you want to pass on Bybee, I understand. When he does give up home runs, they do seem to come in bunches, which probably isn't a good thing for this ballpark. But still, I am intrigued by the raw upside. K numbers just haven't been there this season. It's kind of a worry. He has been worse on the road, but there's just something about the matchup for me that screams I should want to play him. Plus, that 7K price point is super intriguing for his upside. Dodgers, Nationals, Gore, Kershaw. I'm going to be interested in both guys, actually. Gore, super dangerous going against the Dodgers. Kershaw has looked good the last couple of starts. I think he's definitely in play against this Washington team tonight. Gore just always has upside, but he's super volatile, so we have to pay attention to that. Last game in San Francisco. We know the ballpark. We know I love taking pitching. Hunter Dobbins is going to be somebody I want to utilize, I think. Coming off of a strong start against the Yankees. He's had a couple of 22-plus fantasy point starts. He has enough upside to be in a winning GPP build, in my opinion. Birdsong, I don't mind because I just don't like the Boston lineup, but still, Birdsong doesn't really strike me as an upside play. But there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what it brings you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.